Welcome to Atomicdieee's audiobook. Sit back and relax as you listen to the first chapter of the book A Weakness Called Love, The Mamers of an African Housemaid, written by Glamti and narrated by Atomicdieee. Chapter 8. Malama Ara'ayat was a stout woman who walks with an air of a monarch. She commanded respect like a saint and was lavish in prayer like a monk. Her house was big. It is a 3-bedroom flat. It has 2 living rooms, although most houses in that area are smaller, 2 bedrooms mostly. The space between the houses is small, so much so that a woman may converse with another while each was within the confines of her house. Women will call out, "Please, may I borrow your frying pan? May I borrow this? May I borrow that?" They like borrowing. There were 2 adjoining rooms located at the entrance of the house. One was reserved for seeing patients and the other was occupied by Malama Ara'ayat's son, Wa'alamu. He was a man of 23 years who follows his mother's footsteps. He will soon be traveling to Sudan to further his education. Her other 3 children, all female, are married. They don't live in the house anymore, but they visit. Women swam around her from morning to night looking for guidance and help. She is also a skilled herbalist who cures ailments peculiar to women and other sexual-related deficiencies. Sometimes the women even come with their husbands. Women who were yet to conceive frequented her. She is a woman of great importance and revered highly by members of her community. When she sits on a chair, nobody dares sit on an elevated place. The floor was more than enough for everyone. When people spoke to her, they kneeled down and lowered their voices out of respect. Eye contact was reduced to the minimal. When she jokes, everyone laughs out of obligation, not because the joke is funny. For Malama Ara'ayat was never bestowed with the gift of jest. Her jokes always come out haughty or a little offensive, yet we all laughed. Working for Malama Ara'ayat was different. She was like a queen in her castle. There were rules of hierarchy. I reported to another older maid, who in turn reports to Malama Ara'ayat's sister. Her sister was the one who had direct contact with her. She was the one who gave out orders to us. Part of my job was grinding herbs, doing the dishes, sweeping, taking out the trash, washing the toilets, and washing undergarments. The older maid cooked, buys groceries, and massaged Malama Ara'ayat's feet. In her spare time, she liked sitting beside Malama Ara'ayat and praised her as she deserved. The problem was that nothing you do is ever enough. They managed to find fault, no matter how minute, in a perfectly done job, although they were very messy people. Malama Ara'ayat's sister was a harsh woman. She was irritable. When she gets upset, she slaps or hits me. Everything had to be done according to her taste. Displease her and get a sore body. There was no time out. We had to work with the sore body. I missed home, the fresh air and the companionship. More importantly, I missed Moody. I missed my dear Moody. I missed the sight of him. I missed seeing his gorgeous smile. I missed seeing him talk or interact with people. I know we were never talking bodies, yet I missed his voice. What I'll give to have another conversation with that highly spirited man. I could feel the distance separating us. Missing him was like an aching emptiness I could not shake off. It was like I have this hole in my heart that cannot be filled with anything but him. I constantly feel this hollowness that cannot be satiated with anything but the presence of my beloved. Sometimes I wonder if he thought of me. But it doesn't matter, soon he will realize I'm his soulmate and that we are destined to be together. Nobody escapes his destiny, so I smile at a certain future with my beloved. I wanted to grow wings and fly back to my beloved. I was like a girl on the edge of the cliff contemplating suicide. Yet I resisted the urge to go because working for Malama Ara'ayat felt right. Perhaps I will be blessed for serving such a pious woman. After all, Malama Ara'ayat was generous in her blessing. Kids were not left out. Even babies. Malama Ara'ayat is a munificent blesser. Perhaps she might bless me also. Moody and I need blessing for a beautified future. I needed all the help I could get. Then I finally got my nudge. A very important guest will be visiting Malama Ara'ayat, a very rich lady. Everything had to be perfect. We were asked to take our bath very early. We worked tirelessly for the arrival of the wealthy lady, and she came. I was given assorted juice, water, and a glass cup on a tray to take to the guest. The house was impeccable. I greeted her and set the tray beside her. Zamzam, Malama Ara'ayat's sister, poured the wealthy lady the juice. The lady took 3 sips and put the glass back on the tray. She bought herbs at exorbitant price. When she was about to leave, I was called to take the tray. I took the tray to the kitchen, then I looked to the right and left. When I saw no one, I quickly took the glass with the remainder of juice to my mouth and gulped hurriedly. I felt a hard blow on my head. The pain on my head made me drop the glass that was in my hand. I turned around and came face to face with the fierce Zamzam fuming. I felt my hands shaking. All I could say was, "Forgive me." "How dare you," she says. Then the violence started. She started hitting me everywhere while she repeated these 3 words that will haunt me forever. "How dare you." I was now pleading for mercy. "Forgive me," I repeated. Forgiveness was not what Zamzam had in mind. She continued her assault while I cried. Malama Ayat was out by then, watching. So was the older maid, Wa'alamu, and the beggar Shafi'u, but nobody stopped her. When she was finally exhausted, she withdrew, breathing heavily. "Clean this mess," she says, as she walks away. The rest of the day, Malama Ayat was upset about my misdeed. She retired to her room and asked not to be disturbed. I picked myself up and cleaned the broken glass that was shattered on the floor while tears drip on the floor. Damn tears. Now I have to mop the place. My face still had the marks of Zamzam's fingers. Still, everyone was angry at me. Malama Ayat refused to answer my morning greeting. Everywhere in my body hurts. The sting of yesterday's event hadn't completely gone away. I was sore everywhere. My face was swollen and still had markings of Zamzam's painful fingers. My teeth aches. One of the tooth was shaking. I had cuts in my thighs that I had gotten when I fell on the broken glasses as Zamzam hits and kicks me. Walking hurts. Even lying down hurts. I felt as if I had a fever also, but I had to walk. I don't even know where to start. Then I had Zamzam shouting, "Don't tell me Princess Laddie is still sleeping. Come out and walk, you lazy sack of thorns." These girls are unbelievable. Once they had eaten enough, they start growing horns and bite the hands that feeds them. If not for the fear of God that had softened my merciful heart, I would have dealt with you. Such disrespect. It is truly the end of time. I quickly came out, disregarding the pain that was killing me. I tried sweeping, but my body betrayed me. Tears gushed out of my eyes. It was then I decided I will run back home. Throughout the day, I was occupied with work. I was slow, but I kept working. Sometimes I'll sit on the floor and rest a little, and then I will continue. It was already 4 p.m. when I had finished. I went to the room and lay a little. I waited until the older maid went to take a bath. Then I took the money she kept for grocery shopping and went away. It was already 6 p.m. It was getting dark. I was afraid of taking the road back home, so I decided to go to Haji Akulu's house to spend the night. I took a tricycle and reached Haji Akulu's house. Unknown to me, she had already received a call from the residents of Malama Ayat about my misdeed. On reaching there, Haji Akulu showered me with insults. I knew I deserved it. I kept quiet and listened to her. Then she said, "Get out of my house, you selfish girl." I was afraid of going out alone in the dark since it was 7 p.m. The town was a dangerous place. Kidnappers, ritualists, and gangsters lurked. I begged her to allow me to stay only for the night. She refused. I begged and begged. I kneeled and pleaded once again. She vehemently refused me. She threw me out and threw my clothes outside while she slammed the door in my face. She told me not to ever come back again. She is done helping me. She is done finding a place to work for me. I picked up my clothes and started walking in the dark. I went to the motor park. There were no vehicles boarding. I asked the gate man. He managed to get me a bus that was going my way, but they were passing through, so I will have to onboard and walk the rest of the miles on foot. I was relieved. At least I will not sleep on the streets. I boarded the bus and was on my way at last. I made it home safely, though with great difficulty. My feet were swollen and they hurt. I had walked a long way. I felt relieved, but I have a fever. I came home to a very pregnant Asabi. It had been 2 months. Hajara had already been sent back before me. She was sacked because she tried seducing the husband. All this I learned from Asabi. I will ask Hajara about it when we meet next. Right now I had to nurse myself to health. Still, I wonder about what becomes of my hot village stud, the man of my dreams, the man that oozes of an effortless charm, the man that reeks of masculinity.
Girl, you're so hot like summer, and I don't wanna walk the lava. You give me feels when you do, no one can do it like you.
We have come to the end of today's chapter. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Khadija Nasser and at Atomicdieee on Twitter, and subscribe to my podcast and YouTube channels at Atomicdieee. And also don't forget to hit the notification button so that you will be informed whenever I post a new chapter. Thank you for listening, and bye ta! Love ya!